Okay.
You want to go ahead and introduce Thalia?
All right, I'm going to introduce you, Senator Cutter. I'm honored to introduce our guest tonight, Senator Lisa Cutter, who was elected to represent District 20, Jeffco, last year. Prior to that, she was in the House for 2 years. Senator Cutter, a native Coloradan, started her career in the late 90s as a small business owner running Cutter Communications, an award-winning virtual public relations firm specializing in strategic communications across multiple platforms. And on your website, Senator, I saw that you started your own business so you'd have the flexibility necessary to raise your 3 children along with your husband, which I can relate to.
There's
Senator,
no raising him. He's
yeah. Senator Cutter currently serves on several committees. First one is Health and Human Services, then the Joint Select Committee on Rising Utility Rates, also the Joint Technology Committee and the Transportation and Energy Committee. In spite of her work in these other areas, Senator Cutter has sponsored and co-sponsored numerous healthcare bills this year, which is why we brought her to our meeting. These range from increasing access to reproductive health care, to creating consumer protections in medical transactions, to creating a program supporting deafblind children and their families, to creating protections for people with eating disorders, to requiring EpiPens in public dormitories, and to creating a school mental health assessment program for grades 6 through 12, which is what we've asked her here to speak to us about. So please welcome Senator Lisa Cutter.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Sure.
I just one point of correction. I was in the House for 2 terms. So I was
Oh,
in the House
sorry.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. It just takes that long to know what you're doing. No, I did not just say that. We know immediately. No, it's nice to be at that place where you gain so much knowledge over time. And so it's kind of nice to be in my 5th year and in the 2nd chamber. So I feel like I have a little bit more grounding. So you want me specifically to speak to 1003 tonight?
Yes.
Well, this is a bill that I'm really, really excited about. I've worked on mental health issues since I've come to the Capitol, and I really believe in a couple of foundational things. I think that the earlier we can provide mental health treatment and intervention for kids, the better. And I think that normalizing mental health issues, mental and behavioral health issues is incredibly important to ensuring
I'm sorry.
normalizing mental health issues is incredibly important to ensuring that we move forward and help make it okay for people to get help when they need help. So this bill in particular, my colleague Daphna Michaelson-Janae, representative, started it in the House, and she's been a tremendous champion as well, really in particular for kids in mental health. And what this bill does is it sets up a program for schools to several schools to the department will decide, Colorado Department of Health and Environment will decide, assess what schools are going to need this. They'll have to come up with a proposal, and then they will engage with people to conduct screenings at schools for kids, just similar to we were talking about it just the other day on second reading, and one of the members was discussing how he used to get, scoliosis and hearing tests and vision tests in school, right in the gym. And I kind of remember that as well going through. So this is much, similar to that, where they'll just go through in a very simple process and we're careful to say it's a screening. It's not an assessment. It's not a medical assessment or anything, but it's just a way to ask kids some questions and determine if they might benefit from some help, from some mental health supports. What else is important to tell you about that? So that's just it in a nutshell. There's ways for the parents to opt out. They'll have to know a couple weeks in advance if the school is going to be doing this, and then they can opt their child out if they'd like to. But of course, we're hoping that they let their kids do this as just part of their routine. Mental health care is no different than physical health care. And then, then after that, we'll just match them up, refer them to services, try to connect them if they need it, if the child chooses and the parent chooses to go on to get mental health support, then we'll try, they'll try to connect them and point them in the right direction.
Are there programs elsewhere in Colorado or across the country that you could, refer to develop this?
Oh, in terms of developing this bill, I'm actually not sure if this is unique to Colorado. I think it is, but I don't want to say that with 100% certainty. But I believe this is one of the first such programs in the nation.
Cool.
We have been a little bit ahead of the curve in some of these things. I know the iMatter program was really impactful.
I'm sorry, that's
No, go ahead.
Is CDPHE prepared to staff this?
Well, they will be contracting with people, so it's not,
Okay.
and it's not, they're screeners. So I just, want to be clear, it's a different level of professional than it would be a behavioral health, counselor or something like that. So there'll be screeners that will just conduct these things, and that's up to the department to hire them.
And kids can opt themselves back in even if a parent has opted out. Isn't that correct?
Well, that is already state law that a kid can,
Oh.
that that's not part of this legislation, but it is already in state law that a child can seek out mental health treatment at age 12 and older without permission from their parents. So, so you could apply it to this case for sure. It's not part of this legislation, but if a child, wanted to pursue it, they definitely could.
Good.
That's cool. I noticed, Senator, in the original language of the bill, the word assessment was used throughout, and then it was scratched out and replaced with the word screening, which does make more sense, and it's less intrusive, I guess, is certainly, I don't know if that's the right word, but.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, and it is more accurate in terms of what we're trying to do. They're not going to make, right there on the spot in the school gym or whatever, they're not going to make an assessment about what the child needs. And, but they're just going to ask some questions that'll lead them to determine if a referral is necessary or helpful. And, we are seeing, I probably don't have to convince you all, but we're seeing just a horrible increase in depression, suicide. It's been on the uptick for several years with young kids, and they have to deal with a lot of things. They go to school and they have to do active shooter drills, and they have the news is in their face every day about, kids getting shot at school. They have social media issues to contend with, which are pretty significant, I think, in the lives of our youths right now. A lot of societal pressures to look and be a certain way. So I think it's, I think it's really important that we're doing something to address this. There's always more that we need to do, but I think this is a good step.
It is. And can you tell us what stage of the game the bill is in?
Yes, the bill, this is really good news. The bill just passed concurrence today. So do you know how that all works? It goes, so
give us a little history. Yep.
Okay. So it went through the House, the first body, all the committee, second reading, third reading, passage, came over to the Senate, did the same thing, went through committee, but we amended it slightly. And so, and then, we took some amendments in committee to, and on second reading too, I guess, to make people feel a little bit better, and pick up some more support about the bill, further clarify what role parents had, and make sure they did have that 2 weeks notice about the assessments and the ability to opt out. So we did that. So then, because we changed it in the House, so then we passed it on seconds and then on thirds. And because we changed it in the Senate, it has to go back to the House for concurrence. So they have to, they voted on it one way, and that's a different form now. So it went back and they voted and passed it on concurrence today. Brett Michelson Janae just sent me a text not too long ago.
Awesome.
So it's on the way.
Was there much objection? And if so, in what form?
Well, I can speak, generally speaking, to, I don't know what, how the debates went in the House necessarily. They're a whole different,
Mhm.
entity these days. They have different dynamics. But, in the Senate, I think debate was much as expected. And I think that, it all stemmed from a lot of, we did get a lot of emails. The concern was mainly stemming on parental involvement.
Mhm.
But again, to be clear, this bill, we didn't change any of that. We didn't change or address anything like that in this bill. That's already state law that 12-year-olds and up can seek out mental health support if they want to, mental and behavioral health.
Mhm.
So when we had it in the Senate, I think it really helped my Republican colleagues in particular and their constituents and the people that had been writing. I think it helped them a lot that we just defined that better.
Mhm.
We clarified that and took out some language that was really unnecessary to the heart of the bill. It didn't change, what we're doing and how we're providing these services, but it just clarified we're not, we're giving parents an opportunity to opt out, and we're being, plenty communicative and giving them plenty of time. And we did not deal with any of that parental consent in this bill. And I think people were confused about that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does
Yeah.
anybody have questions for the senator? Go ahead, Elaine. No, you're on mute.
I know
There we go.
that everybody tells me you're on. But did it end up being bipartisan voting?
Oh, that's a good question. We don't have a board in the Senate, so it's hard, in the House, they have an electronic board so you can see really quickly. So I don't track it as much over here, but I think it did. I think it did because some of my Republican colleagues provided some amendments.
Hmm.
And so I'm pretty sure we picked up a few Republican votes on it
Good.
as well. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's great.
I was wondering if the funding for it needed to be picked up by the schools or anybody else, or is there enough funding in the bill to cover the screenings?
We don't do unfunded mandates on K through on education for sure. So that is not okay. We don't fund education enough as it is. So we don't do unfunded mandates. So that's actually why we had to dial it back a little bit from, every single school to having the department assess what schools may benefit the most by it, looking at data about suicide rates and depression and demographic data that might be useful in them determining where to roll these out.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that it's not across the board with schools, because mental health issues seem to be cropping up everywhere. I was talking with my daughter, who's an adjunct faculty at Oregon State, and she and her colleagues were talking about the mental health of the students there that has changed, since COVID. So they're seeing it. It's a nationwide thing.
It totally is. And I'm not a scientist in this area for sure, but I think, we talk a lot about what the causes could be. And I think, COVID and just throwing people out of their community and having that, not being tethered to a community and feeling that support and that strength. It's so different being face to face and connecting with your peers than it is being online. I think that's a problem. I think, as we were talking social media before, had a lot of conversations about that. I've worked in mis and disinformation. I did some work in media literacy a few years ago, which you guys are really supportive of. So I love that. And I've really been pushing to do more work in mis and disinfo. I think people are beginning to realize, maybe a study or something, because I think people are beginning to realize how harmful it is for kids and social media to have not only misinformation and confusing stuff that affects all of us when we make decisions, but, body image kind of things and just things that they put out. Kids they just have so much to deal with. So that, COVID, I think the climate crisis affects people. I think young people probably more than older generations. And then, that's just the threat of gun violence all the time that they have to deal with.
Right.
So it's no wonder they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a lot overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we are as adults, they certainly are as children.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. And don't you feel like your kids pick up whatever is
Oh.
coming from the adults, angst or
course.
whatever it is? Kids pick up on that. They know what's going on in the
Mhm.
world.
Yep, they do. Do you have to go?
I'm just looking. I got a text. Just what are they doing? Let's see. No, I think I'm okay for a minute. I think I probably have a couple
Okay.
minutes to wrap.
Anybody have
you know-
any questions? Go ahead, Beth.
I was gonna, do you know how many, what percentage of schools will be involved across the state?
No, I'm afraid I don't
Okay.
know the answer to that right off the top. I can try and look it up and see really quickly, but I know, like I said, I know we scaled it back. Unfortunately, we had to
Mhm.
scale it back. But hopefully this will be successful and we can continue to build out the program as we,
Mhm.
that's always the goal.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes a little bit to, prove something works and
Mhm.
get out there and then more people will adopt it, more schools can adopt it.
Okay.
I'm trying to look as I'm talking
Mhm.
here. Any
So
other,
there's
Also,
data- Oh,
well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's data gathering that's involved with the bill itself? Or is that just assumed that will be done to show success?
I'm not sure if that part is still, let me double check. I am so sorry.
No,
It's
It's
all
been
right.
a minute since today's been a little bit crazy, so I have a million things. And I didn't bring in my full bill notes on that one. I should have done that. I apologize. But while I'm pulling that up, is there any other questions anyone has about it or concerns?
Anybody? Nope, I think that's good. Yeah.
No? Okay. I can also, let's see here.
Take your time.
Thank you. We're just gonna hang out while I scan the internet. Finding everything but the one I want, of course.
Mm.
This bill, I will tell you that this bill was heavily supported by colleagues for the most part, like it was a big priority. I know that in the House in particular, and in the Senate too, it did receive a lot of support. I think people saw how important this bill was. So that was encouraging. It's always a
Absolutely.
matter of how much debate and all that.
Mhm.
So participating schools. I'm not finding it, ladies.
That's okay.
I hate to not tell you if I'm not 100% sure of it.
That's all right.
Maybe I will look that up and I will send it to you because it changed a little bit at the end and I just don't want to I don't
Mhm.
want to give you this
That'd
information.
be great. Are there any other healthcare bills that you've been involved with that you're excited to tell us about?
Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, I do. That's why I printed a list because I have a whole bunch
Good.
of healthcare bills. One today that's on the smaller scale, I suppose, but I'm really excited about it. Are you all you're all from Jefferson County, right? No? Oh, you're not.
Tennessee.
Okay.
No,
Nope.
we're across the state.
Okay, this is a sub. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
there's a commissioner, Andy Kerr, who is also a former state senator, and his daughter actually, we're friends and colleagues, and his daughter actually witnessed her friend die because she didn't have an EpiPen handy
Oh,
in a dorm. Within minutes, she drank
Wow.
something that she didn't realize had protein in it
mhm.
and protein powder in it, and she went into
Wow.
anaphylaxis. What is that?
Yeah.
And she didn't have her pen, and so they ran to get it and did not make it back in time.
Mm.
And it was really sad story. We just had testimony yesterday and it's moving through. We
Mhm.
passed it on seconds today. So basically what the bill will do is require colleges and universities to come up with a policy for
Mhm.
placing and then place EpiPens in high traffic areas, areas where they're easily attainable
Mhm.
for students in that case. So they're
Mhm.
not, not having to run across the campus for something at the risk of this happening.
Sure, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, yes. I mean, and it's an easy enough thing to do, right? EpiPens are,
Mhm.
we actually ran legislation this session to cap the cost at $60. So
Fabulous. Yep.
great. That was not my bill, but that was a great bill. So that was exciting today. We did, let's see, of course, insurance coverage requiring major, large employer plans to cover the complete cost of abortions and reproductive
Yes.
health care, full range of reproductive
Yes.
care. So, family planning, HIV treatment, all
Mhm.
kinds of, so that was really exciting. And Rep. Michelson Janae was also on that bill with me. So that was
Mhm.
fun to collaborate. We did, deaf-blind interveners. We created a program to provide interveners to children and families to navigate services and things for deaf and blind children. So they have more opportunities to participate in,
Mhm.
in life and doing things. So that I felt really good about that bill. Protections for people with eating disorders.
Mhm.
We put some clarification around, well, we disallowed medical institutions from using BMI as a, determinant in an eating disorder diagnosis. So I don't know if you are all familiar, there's been a lot of pushback on that recently. That's just a very, very old, outdated way
Mhm.
of determining, it's based on, well, like I want to say, I can't remember, like Swiss soldiers or something like for like 100 years ago, like that's how they came up with this scale, this BMI index. And so
Mhm.
it's not a good accurate measure. And so we disallowed that. We prohibited weight loss supplements from being sold to children.
Mhm.
What else do we do? Oh, when we put some rules around using feeding tubes for people with an eating disorder.
Mhm.
And this is a lot of young people. So we had some really powerful testimony. Feel good about that. 2 more geriatric medical providers. I work with Senator Danielson, who's been a huge supporter of, she's worked a lot in this space around geriatric medicine and the fact that we really don't have enough providers. So
Mhm.
we are creating a program to help fund better training and then train the trainer program. So we're trying to,
Mhm.
grow the number of geriatric medical providers exponentially through this program. So that was exciting. And then 2, to deal with fees, medical,
Mhm.
well, one is hospital facility fees, which is still making its way through. Are you all familiar with hospital facility fees?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, and how hidden so many of them are. Yeah.
They're sneaky. And so we're trying to we're trying to prohibit some hospital facility fees and then the bulk of the bill is to create a study to look at to gather the data to really understand how hospitals are and medical practices are using these, how they're billing them, what they're going for, just to shine some light on it, because I think sometimes all the information isn't readily available to the public. And so we're going to do a study and figure out how they're being used and maybe look at how to curtail
Awesome.
the fees. Yeah, yeah. And then the other one that I was really excited about is medical billing practices. That was a bill we worked on with the AG's office. They've been wonderful when it comes to consumer issues, and this caps interest at 3%, which
That's huge.
I think that's totally huge. And it prohibits collections activities while the bill is in appeal.
Mhm.
Creates some more transparency around, who's doing the billing, what
Mhm.
the service is for, and makes surprise billing a deceptive trade practice. So there's lots of elements to that bill, but again, just trying to protect the consumer from some of these hidden costs and, excessive fees, and
Mhm.
those things are so confusing.
Very. And where is that bill right now?
That has passed all the way through and we're
Oh.
just waiting for a bill
Oh.
signing. Yeah.
Yay,
That
awesome.
was at the AG's priority bills, and it was just a
Mhm.
pleasure to work with them on it. I'm really excited about that bill.
That's cool. That's very
So,
cool.
yeah, so I've
Good.
really really been happy to do so many things in the healthcare space. I think that's, there's a lot of changes we need to make, but we're chipping away. We're doing some things.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Any questions, anybody? Nope. Okay.
I have one comment. I really appreciate how many of your bills really dovetail with education,
Mhm,
with children.
mhm.
That's awesome. So thank
Yeah,
you.
you know what? I started out, I was on the education committee for 2 years in the House, and I do love that. I always love I love the intersection there. I love doing things to support kids, most definitely. And I do a lot of climate work too. And I think that is supporting kids and families as well.
Yeah.
And they should testify about it and feel strongly about it.
Yeah,
Great.
well, thank you.
Oh, I had one quick question on the EpiPen bill. Is it only public schools or private as well? Universities and
No, we're only requiring public.
public, okay.
Yeah. I don't think we can require private.
Yeah, I know, right.
Yeah.
Probably not, but hopefully they will follow suit, you know.
Yeah, one would hope. I mean, that's such an easy thing. And when people talk about, like, listen, we have to be very careful and no unfunded mandates and be careful about costs that we're imposing on people. But we've given them a lot of latitude in that bill to create their own programs. And when you're
Mhm.
talking about, I mean, really tiny amounts
Mhm.
to save lives and to really protect kids, I think that, you always have to weigh those things out, but it seems
Right.
worth it.
Absolutely. And weren't EpiPens one of those things that the pharmaceutical industry just shot up over $500 a piece? Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Right.
It was that one guy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, totally.
Mhm.
I totally know who you mean too. I can't think of his name, but it was that one.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, he'll live with that for a long time, won't he? He got,
Oh,
Yeah. Big
so
trouble.
yeah, there's just a lot of profit and transparency issues in the healthcare system. So
Mhm.
some of these things nibble around at that a little bit. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm eager to do more work in that space. And
That's great. And I know this particular group, some of our members are really interested in pursuing universal health care for Coloradans. And that would eliminate so many of these hidden problems and financial issues and hidden fees and all that kind of stuff. So,
I agree. And it's a big hill, but we're trying to take steps in that direction.
Mhm.
to,
right.
Make it easier for consumers, better for consumers. I know
Mhm.
my son, one of my adult's children, he's 28, he lives in Canada with his wife, and
Wow.
he recently had an appendectomy. She's actually a med student, so
Okay.
but he had an appendectomy, emergency appendectomy, and the next day he's texting me and saying, "Wow, I'm just glad that I'm here."
Hmm.
Because he's in between jobs, and so he's like, "I'm sure glad I'm
Oh.
in Canada. I don't have to worry
Oh.
about having thousands of dollars of out-of-pocket costs."
That's right. I had an emergency appendectomy a year and a half ago, and I think the actual, bottom line bill was over $20,000.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
No,
Oh my, for an appendectomy?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Well, we have insurance, so thank goodness. But, if you looked at the bill itself,
Right.
yes, emergency room fees, hospital room, charges every day. Yep.
Wow.
So he got really lucky.
Other places are making it work. There's
Yeah.
gotta be a
know.
way.
That's right. We're not gonna back down. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I appreciate the league so much. I really, really appreciate all the work you do and all the advocacy you do. And you bring, anytime the league is supportive of one of my bills, I'm really excited about it because I think you bring great credibility and you always come from a place of knowledge and understanding. And I really appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
It's a good goal.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody have any other comments or questions? We'll let the good senator get on with her work.
Mhm.
I am
Thank you
so
so
grateful
much.
that I could sneak out and talk to you all. I was looking forward to this. So thanks for being such a great audience and yeah.
Go
Take
get
care.
Go
them.
get him.
Connecting again anytime.
All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun. That was great.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is my first time, so I might stumble along the agenda. So hopefully Beth and Kathy will help me along, but we are, and there's not very many of us here tonight, but I think maybe we need to talk about some current healthcare bills, although we've just covered a bunch, and what this group's interested in pursuing, especially once the General Assembly session is over. You know, that gives us an opportunity to just sort of explore different areas that might interest
Mhm.
us, and like universal health care or privatizing Medicare or whatever it is this group would like to pursue. So any ideas, any thoughts?
Can I encourage you also to get on the mailers so you find out about when rulemaking is happening in this
Mhm.
area? Because you can get on, I'm on the list and I'll get these updates. Many of them are, not relevant to me, so I just delete them. But rulemaking is really important once they pass these bills. And you
That's
can get
true.
involved with that. So
Okay. Well, and you'll send us the link to that, Kathy?
I think it's the Secretary of State's office, but
Oh, okay,
I'll look to see in my last one to see where the sign up was.
okay.
Let me write myself a note.
Oh, just found it.
Oh, did you? Good, thanks.
Sure.
The other thing, while you're posting that, I was going to look up to see if any of the interim committees that meet during the summer and the fall
Mhm.
are connected with healthcare, and I don't know, but I can look pretty quickly. So if I find one, I'll let you know.
That'd be great. Anybody else have any ideas or thoughts they want to share?
Well, we have talked about and never gotten off the ground an observer corps for the State Board of Health.
Oh, wow.
I personally still love that idea.
Mhm.
But that's just me. I don't want to mandate any activities that
Mhm.
participants don't want to do, because there's no point.
Mhm.
But like one of the reasons I asked Senator Cutter questions about CDPHE is because I don't have a lot of faith in that organization. So I would love to see, and I know that getting a graphic together to post in our e-newsletters and on social
Mhm.
media and stuff to recruit observers
Mhm.
is on Katina's to-do list.
Okay.
Katina is our communications person on staff, for those of you who don't know. And I think that once that happens, that if other people feel as I do, that this is important, that they'll hopefully sign up.
Mhm.
If they
That's a
don't sign
really
up,
good
I guess
idea.
that's a pretty good indication as to.
Yeah.
So Elaine,
So-
in Larimer, yeah, I was going to say Larimer has had that to talk about it, Elaine.
Yeah, we do. Each month, different people sign up to observe both the Board of Health and the Health District. We have a Health District of Northern Larimer County.
Great.
And people sign up and you go to the meeting and then you report back as to what they're doing and what issues might come up that are more local issues and we've had the head of the Board of Health come talk to us about various things.
That's great.
Yeah,
Would you all be willing to share those reports with this task force?
sure, sure, because, and they should be, you know, I'm not sure just where
Mm.
online they are, but I'll find.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, that would be cool, because, I mean, why reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm. And you know, in Larimer County, they're doing they have a grant to do really a broad observer corps that's
Mhm.
observing lots of different meetings
Mhm.
and it's kind of a supplement to journalism
Mhm.
Right,
because,
yeah.
you know, they're losing so much productivity in newspapers and
Mhm.
media.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and they got a grant to do it.
Yep,
Yeah.
they
Gunnison-
just presented at our board meeting a couple,
Oh,
10 days ago.
Yeah. So I looked up and there is an interim committee. It is the statewide healthcare review committee.
oh,
And it says the committee studies healthcare issues and that affect Colorado residents throughout the state. And so those interim committees start meeting in the summer.
Hmm.
And what happens with them is by the end of their session and they're bipartisan committees, okay?
Mhm.
So by the end of the interim committee session, they come out with a report and they recommend bills to be introduced at the
Mhm.
very
oh,
beginning
wow.
of the legislative session. So it's worth keeping track of what they're up to and
Mhm.
looking at what bills they're proposing. And if you just go to, the General Assembly website and you go to committees, and you click on that,
Mhm.
just scroll down the page because it has the ones that are in session right now first. And then it has the year-round ones, and then under that are the interim committees that are listed. And just click on that and it'll show you what the schedule is for meetings, what the meeting materials are, and you can see what the final report the last time around was
That's fantastic.
from this. And I'm looking, there are a couple of members, a senator and a representative from our area, from Larimer, because Joanne Janal's on it and Mary Young is on it too. So I don't know
Great.
where the rest of you are from, but there are what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people on it, 10
That's
senators
great.
and representatives that are on it from all over the state. So it gets it'll air issues that are urban and rural
Mhm.
issues in
Mhm.
it. So
Well, that might be a great activity for this
Yeah,
task force over the summer.
mhm.
absolutely.
Especially because, I mean, Thalia and Elaine are so involved with the LAC and of course Kathy too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I of course want us to be in on the ground floor of,
Mhm.
getting our fingers into bills, as they're being drafted,
Mhm.
and being proactive instead of reactive, though
I
we
think-
will always have to be reactive.
I think this is a great idea. And maybe if we have our meeting in June, between now and then, we can explore what this interim committee's done in the past, and they probably won't have posted anything yet.
No, they don't have anything right now, but you
Yeah.
can go right now in their drop-down menu. You can go all the way back to 2019.
That's terrific.
Oh, cool.
you know. So
Do you know when they typically start meeting,
I want
Kathy?
to say June, but
Mhm.
Okay,
I
Take-
honestly,
Right.
I want to say June. That's what my memory is for, like, the education and the
Mhm.
okay.
Koyak and those that I've looked at. So yeah.
It
Just
looks
being,
like,
yeah. Go ahead, Elaine.
but it looks like they must appoint a few, right? Is
What do you
this,
mean?
well, it was like they had lawn team. Isn't that right?
Yes, I see those.
Was I
names.
looking at-
Pelton, you know, whether they don't have their picture up there now, or maybe they're
Mhm.
shifting, you know, who knows from last year. May,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
Mhm.
know. I thought, is it Senator Pelton? I thought he was still,
yeah,
so.
He is.
I don't know some of those other names,
Hmm.
but some I do know quite well because I keep running into legislation. Their
Yeah.
names are on, so.
Right,
Mhm. Mhm.
cool, okay.
Mhm.
You're awful quiet, Marilyn.
Yeah, I'm just setting in. I haven't been to a meeting for a long time. And as people know that I went to the national convention and, you know, we was on, working on the concurrence and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But just to tell you what I'm frustrated with is that we cannot advocate for, you know, our new way of doing things. You know, it just, I'm disappointed that the US LWV hasn't said it's okay to advocate for single payer,
Hmm.
Oh,
you know, so.
Hmm.
So I've been attending the US Health Committee from that Barbara Pearson from Massachusetts goes to, and I think some of you have been there, you know, Elaine probably has. So
Hmm.
I missed that last meeting. I got hacked. And so my computer
Oh,
was broken down.
Bummer. Oh,
oh, bummer.
I couldn't
That's a-
even register without it having a fit.
oh, like you just want to take your machine and throw it in the
Yeah,
dumpster.
well,
at
yeah,
that point.
I've had it at the Geeks for four different times.
Oh,
And
Oh dear.
and what they're telling me is that I'm getting malware through my email, which is
Oh.
going to be
yeah, that's a problem.
hard to get it taken care of.
Right. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
But
Those-
I'm really wanting us to get, talk about healthcare because, we want our kids to have it and our grandkids. I mean,
Mhm.
we want this to work.
Mhm.
And we've lost 2 years of length of life, and
Mhm.
that's not such a good thing. Oh, there I am.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
are. That's awesome. That's great.
It was a fun time to go. It was the
It was
first time
fun.
I've ever done that. And, it was good.
Yeah, I loved it.
Marilyn, there are several people who have come to meetings over the last few months who agree with you
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
about an interest in doing this. And
Well,
so-
I'm one of those seniors that's in Medicare. So I'm
Right.
an old lady type.
You should
And
know,
it's
no,
like,
you are not alone.
Mhm.
and you tell somebody that, well, in January of 22, they put my husband and I in an ACO REACH, and we're a traditional Medicare people. If that doesn't make you mad,
Mhm.
your blood pressure goes up and you don't want to see that doctor anymore. But you have to find another one. And are they going to take me or not?
Mhm.
Medicare, we don't have to. I got a letter, I've got a need that's bothering me right now. And I'm just, I don't, I don't need the surgery done right now,
Mhm.
but it might be in my future. And it's like, the guy sends me a letter and the doctor that did my left knee, he says, well, I'm not taking Medicare people anymore.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, guys. It's awful.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. And you're in the metro area.
oh
Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, think if,
I don't know what it's going to get into, but it's just, what is going, it's all about money.
Mhm.
I think that the doctors are being bought out by,
That's true.
so
Mhm.
I don't know. You also have all these ads about Medicare Advantage, and
Mm.
they're usually put on by companies that are,
Yeah.
that have been fined because they did overbilling,
Mhm.
over coding, you know.
Because they're for profit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm a retired chemist, so I'm kind of out of place
Right.
in a lot of places. And it's like, well, you know, so I went to Regis, and I took the program on how to code and stuff like that. And, you know, got
Mhm.
my credentials for that. But boy, I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
Good for you, though.
Because that's not me. I did work for an insurance company for 6 years, and I
Mm.
know what, you know, I did coding to pay the
Mhm.
bills, you know,
Mhm.
you know,
That's
so
pretty
I
rough.
know that it's 18% that they make off of us.
Oh,
for
yeah.
the-
Mhm.
And it might be more, you know.
Mhm.
And the ACO, I don't pay for that. And, you know, what's interesting is when I look at what I pay for traditional Medicare, because I have the supplement plan, it's gone up $50 a piece.
Mm.
I mean, they didn't do anything more. I'm as healthy as I can be, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
just, you know, want you to know really, you know, what's down the pike for people there.
Mhm.
They'll learn that this is something they need to be finding out about.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mm.
So I don't know how to do that, you know.
Mm.
I mean, I know Beth has, you know, set us up to talk to some of these people. We had a Stemler or something like, I can't remember his first name. He came and talked to us, to this group about it. And there were only about 20 people there, you know. So it's like,
I think that was Elaine's friend.
oh, was it? Yeah. And it's like, it was a good talk and everything. It's just like, well, it isn't a high priority because we're worried about losing our democracy and voting and
Mhm.
all these other things that are going on. We're just inundated with the news, the
Mhm.
bad news, basically.
Mhm.
There's good news out there too, but
I need
Yeah.
mental health screening too, just for that.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put, you know, water on the, you know, on my deal, but I do want us to get with it. I want us
Mhm.
to be able to do more than just democracy things. I want to do some healthcare because that's a basic need.
It's,
That's just like education, you know, what they do in the schools,
mhm.
you know, that kind of thing.
And that's why you're a member of this group.
Yep,
Mhm.
that's
Gotta
why I
keep-
came tonight.
Fighting. Yeah,
Mhm,
we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out to do.
Mhm.
yeah.
But I mean, we need to spend the summer and fall kind of
Mhm.
looking at priorities and where
Mhm.
but if we want to be involved in drafting legislation, it happens in the summer.
Yeah.
That's
So,
good. Okay,
um,
I think that's our
Yeah.
mandate, maybe for the summer, to just jump
I've
on
heard
board
that-
with that.
Some news is that we might be voting on it, but I don't know if that's true in the next vote, like 23 or 24,
For a ballot, for the ballot issues.
from the ballot issues
Yeah.
that we have. I don't know. I haven't heard much about that. That's the Colorado Foundation group
Mm.
Is,
that, you know, and I haven't kept up with that. It's just too much to do for, you know.
well,
Right.
it evolved to a study bill
okay.
and it has made it through the House and through the Senate Health and Human Services Committee, and it's kind of wallowing in appropriations.
Mm.
Oh dear, that's not a good place to be right now.
So in Senate appropriations.
Yeah, if
So-
it's sitting, they can keep it there and it can die there because the session ends on Monday, May.
Monday, yeah.
Okay,
No,
And if it doesn't get any farther, it'll just die. And
It'll
that's-
die, and do you have to start all over again
Yeah.
then?
Mhm,
Yes.
Oh, you know, it,
mhm.
So if you have any elected officials that are on appropriations,
Hmm,
is you can drop them a line and tell them that this is very important, that we,
hmm,
and the thing is, what's really aggravating is the people, there's this separation between what people want and
Mhm.
and what gets voted on. Or
They have to be
and-
vocal, people have to be vocal. And that, by that, I mean, they have to email their
Mhm.
legislators. They have to call their office, because a lot of times they only hear from the people that don't want a bill to go through.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So the people who do want to need to be a loud voice as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it is so many times it's a minority loud voice that gets heard.
Right.
So, and they do keep counts, and they do
yeah.
record that. So
Mhm.
get loud.
Well,
ladies.
I'm gonna reach out, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Well, I live in Douglas County, so there's only one, kind of person that gets in there. So,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But it seems like, you want to keep reminding them that they were voted to represent all the people in their district and their county, and not just the ones who give them money, and not, so I
Yeah.
think you have to be the squeaky wheel,
Mhm.
continuously be
Mhm.
politely, but continuously be
oh,
the.
yes, absolutely.
Well, and healthcare is not partisan.
No.
No.
I mean,
No.
it's like education, that's not partisan.
It's so much like education, that
Mhm.
why are we treating it like that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
so.
Well,
That's
there's
the
a
Woodland
lot
Park
of
School
money
Board.
Yeah.
paid.
Amen. Don't get me started on that. Yes.
Well, I'm right now, I'm downsizing and I'm going to be moving to Jefferson County. So we'll see if it's better. It might be a little better.
Huh.
So I
Good for
might
you.
I won't be, I'm going into a 62 and older place.
Mhm.
There's a new building called Village of Chatfield that's being built on Ken Carl and Garrison area, and we'll probably move the first quarter of 24.
Hmm.
Uh,
Good for you.
so it's going to be a big change,
Mhm.
when you're used to having your own house and doing your own thing. So
So you can be part of the
It's a big
Jeffco
decision.
Yeah.
league. And that's Christina, right? Christina Matthews?
yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
We go to church, to the same church.
Okay.
Yeah. She's beginning to send me things, the communications that they have in Jefferson County. I know it's going to be totally different than the way, we have what we have.
Mhm.
But we have some very good people in Arapahoe and in Douglas County that, that make it nice too. So,
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. A
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Mhm.
So is there getting more and more elected bodies are choosing to make resolutions for improved Medicare for all?
Mhm.
I mean, just last week, Longmont passed a resolution
Hmm.
to support Medicare for all.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was that the league? Was that the league that no,
no,
was it not?
it was the city that,
Oh,
Longmont City Council?
yeah.
uh-huh. Oh, boy,
Huh.
that is good.
That's really good.
Boulder County Commissioners
Mhm.
have passed a resolution.
Hmm.
Fort Collins, the city has.
Wow.
And the resolutions really are significant because like like Kathy said about the squeaky people getting the
Mhm,
attention.
mhm.
And if a whole city,
Yeah, okay,
know?
yeah. They can't argue with that.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can we do more of that? Can we?
yes, you
Yeah,
can.
right?
Well,
Look-
I don't know how the league, but the league can support, and the league is supporting some work we're doing to get more resolutions up here. And they can support as long as it's not like for a specific bill.
Hmm.
You know, in general, the
What do you
league,
mean?
the league has, well, it's not in support of, you know, bill number so-and-so, which is going to be soon on the 16th. In, the House and the Senate are putting out a Medicare for All bill.
Are you talking federal or are you talking state?
Well, that is federal.
That's,
Yeah, it's
okay.
gotta be federal.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's federal, but yeah, I wonder what what the US League is doing.
Well,
with that.
I don't think we can do anything, you know, we can't do, we can educate, but we
Mhm.
can't advocate. Well, I don't know, I'm kind of a, you know, I'll go out on my own. What I've decided to do is, I know people that are involved with the National Committee for the Preservation of Social
Mhm,
Security and
mhm. Okay.
Medicare. And I am going to the senior, you know, festivals and get-togethers, you know, for medical things to you know, services for
Mhm.
adults. I did 2 in the month of April. You know, I can advocate for them. I can't
Hmm.
have a LWV tag on or anything like that. That, you know, that's never mentioned.
Mhm.
But you know, I want to do stuff like that. I don't mind doing that kind of thing. But
So I have a question then. So with House Bill 1209 concerning the analysis of a universal healthcare system, in my mind, that's education, or it's not, we're not, or can we advocate for that as a league member?
If you have, okay, if there is a position and it's either a US position or a Colorado position that would cover that,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay. I think
Uh-huh.
Colorado
Yes,
has such a
please do.
position, right? Okay, okay.
I was
I
just.
thought so. I was,
The league is lobbying for it.
good, okay,
Yeah, and that's advocacy,
right.
when
Yeah.
we
Right.
lobby, that's advocacy. So, and you can do that at the local level.
Mhm.
If this, if
We-
the state league is, if there's a position.
but
Well-
we can't go at the federal level. And that's where you know, I'm kind of wanting that to be, you know, at the federal. But I was hoping, you know, I had heard about the study that they did, you know, for Colorado having their own, you know, single payer position. And I
Mhm.
was hoping it would be going through, but you know,
Hmm.
it's hard to keep up with all of it, but you know, it's not going to make it. So you're telling me it's all.
No. In 2019, there was a bill 1176 that set up a task force, and it studied a more broadly, comparison of how to fund healthcare. So this present bill will kind of build on that.
Hmm.
And it's specific to single payer healthcare.
Mhm.
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 And we just need to get it out of appropriations.
Mhm. I mean, isn't it requiring like the public policy students at one of the universities to do the study? So how expensive could that be?
It's
That's
the School of Public Health.
right. So you wouldn't think,
I think it's like I'm not even sure. 300,000.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna, yeah.
Mm,
Having done research through a university, yeah,
Okay.
it's not necessarily cheap because you have to pay for the graduate students. And
Yeah.
there are all sorts of, and you share the fees with the university
Mm,
that's running it, university or universities, depending on on the study. So there's, a fair amount. That can go
So
into-
it's the money that's holding it up. I mean,
We don't
I
know.
mean.
Who knows what is holding?
I would
Well,
imagine.
my understanding was that they already had the study, about that they should look into this, and they paid for that. The legislators, the Colorado legislators paid for that. But the meeting I went to, the legislators didn't read the report. TR Reed was there, and it was interesting to hear his point of view. You know what it is,
Well, the goal is one way or the other. In Canada, it is how they got single payer healthcare was
mhm.
province by province. And Saskatchewan was. the
yeah,
first.
okay, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, of course, the House, is mostly opposition people. And so it's
Yeah.
hard to get it through. So then
Hmm.
it gets a little stuck there too.
It was sent to appropriations only on April 27th, so it's only been a few days, so maybe that's good news.
We only have a few days left.
I know.
Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you Google Colorado display boards, okay. And it'll take you to a great site that's a General Assembly site.
Mm-hmm.
And I do this every morning, okay, because you can see what the schedule is for
Mhm.
every committee, what the schedule is for the House floor and the Senate floor.
Mhm.
And so you just start scanning down and seeing if it's coming up to be heard that day. That doesn't necessarily mean it will be. I mean,
Sure.
they have so many bills they're going through right now. It's incredible.
Mhm.
It's absolutely incredible. And they've been working into the night, but sometimes they just don't get to it yet. And it's
Right.
laid over to the next day or whatever.
Mhm.
But the Colorado display boards, that is a really
Okay.
handy resource.
I'll do that for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Well, we've gone over a little bit. When